very, very important tradition in the Eastern District. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Dr. Alisa James, who is from the state of New York. She is the Associate Dean of the College of Education, Health and Human Services, and a professor in the Department of Kinesiology, Sports Studies, and Physical Education. The very first time I spoke with her and we made this selection was in Salt Lake City, which didn't happen. And then we decided we would just ask her if she would continue and be our lecturer in Baltimore. And here we are in 2021, and we are very, very pleased to be here today with all of you. And Alisa's going to be discussing the gender leadership gap in higher education, kinesiology, and beyond. So welcome and thank you. And we are just excited to hear from you.
Thank you, Sally. Good afternoon. I am truly honored to present the Eastern District Association Margaret Paulding lecture. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the committee for extending me the invitation, and I would also like to thank each of you for attending virtually. When I first began to prepare this lecture, I recognized that I have the responsibility to present my thoughts in a way that connects them with what Margaret Paulding and members of the Eastern Association for Physical Education of College Women, EAPECW, stood for and achieved. In addition, I believe that it is my responsibility to leave individuals in the audience with things to think about that will move women in our profession forward. In preparation for this lecture, I spent time searching for information about the EAPECW and Margaret Paulding. I had plans to take a trip to Smith College to view the EAPECW archives. However, due to the pandemic, Smith College canceled my appointment to view the archives in their library. In my examination of information regarding the EAPECW, I was impressed by the support they provided to women who were leaders in physical education, as well as women that hope to become leaders. The women of the EAPECW had the vision to meet and discuss issues that influence the administration of physical education departments in colleges from 1915 to 1992. They shared ideas and collaboratively established policies for physical education and higher education professionals in the discipline. Moreover, they discussed ways to create value and enhance the capital of women's college physical education departments on college campuses. Margaret Paulding and members of the EAPECW provided professional development opportunities for women serving in leadership positions in physical education. Additionally, the EAPECW provided a space for women leaders in the field to mentor and serve as role models for women seeking leadership opportunities in the discipline. As a result, members of the EAPECW paved the way for women today that are in leadership roles and those that hope to achieve leadership roles in kinesiology and related fields. The lecture I will share with you today is focused on the topic of the leadership gap for women in kinesiology and higher education in general. In my position as Associate Dean of the School of Education, Health, and Human Services at SUNY Brockport, I have become acutely aware of this leadership gap and have given a lot of thought regarding how to bridge the gap for women. I have realized that I have experienced many things as a woman in leadership that have contributed to this gap. For example, I did not have formal mentoring regarding my leadership aspirations. I did receive informal mentoring, but I recognize the impact a lack of formal mentoring and networking opportunities has had on my career trajectory. In addition to more formal mentoring in regard to leadership, I would have appreciated knowing the rewards as well as the limitations of being in a leadership role early in my career. I believe that this knowledge would have better prepared me for my journey in pursuing a leadership role in higher education. In my experience, the path to institutional leadership was not clear and had its share of roadblocks, particularly as a woman in kinesiology. In light of this, The purpose of this lecture is twofold. First, I will discuss the rewards and limitations that women in leadership roles experience, as well as the benefits of having women as leaders. Second, I will discuss barriers women face in pursuing leadership roles and strategies that can be utilized to help advance women leaders in kinesiology and higher education in general. To begin, I would like to address the rewards that come with being a woman in a leadership role in higher education. Research results have indicated that women in leadership roles find it satisfying to be able to influence policy and institutional initiatives. In addition, women leaders have indicated that they value being a role model for other women that aspire to leadership positions. Related to rewards, research results have shown that women leaders have more influence and make an impact as a leader that they were not able to achieve as a faculty member. I have found this to be true in my role as Associate Dean. For example, I am able to support the development of innovative programs and partnerships, as well as bring a variety of stakeholders to the table to ensure the success of these programs and partnerships. As a faculty member, I did not have the ability to do this. Although there are many rewards that women face as leaders, as women experience as leaders, there are also limitations to the role. First, women leaders have indicated that they may not have received adequate mentoring and often believe they do not fit in. Second, women in leadership roles have reported that these roles require them to juggle multiple roles that place demands on their time, as well as work long hours. Third, women in leadership positions in higher education often feel isolated and their relationships with their departmental colleagues changes. I have experienced this firsthand in my relationship with my kinesiology, sports studies, and physical education colleagues at SUNY Brockport. Some of my colleagues have joked that I have gone to the dark side, but in reality, I am on their side. I just have to work differently than I did as a faculty member. There are several benefits of having women in leadership roles in kinesiology and higher education. First, women contribute to more diverse leadership teams and offer different perspectives. Second, a report from the Pew Research Center conveyed that women used 5 of 9 leadership behaviors that have been identified to have a positive impact on organizational performance more than men. These 5 behaviors are people development, role modeling, inspiration, expectations, and participative decision-making. Third, O'Connor indicated that women leaders are self-confident and are able to implement a vision that leads to change. Additionally, women that are leaders value collaboration and building relationships that allows them to work with others effectively to achieve a shared vision that moves an organization forward. Finally, a benefit of having women serve in leadership roles is that many women leaders utilize a transformational leadership style. Transformational leadership involves a form of leadership that moves followers to accomplish more than what is expected of them and are able to create change. Women that utilize a transformational leadership style are able to enhance employee morale, increase motivation, and performance. While there are several benefits to having women as leaders, women face barriers in higher education that significantly impact their attainment of leadership roles. First, as an assistant professor, I was aware that there were barriers that women face in society. However, in higher education, I thought everyone would be treated equitably. I believed that hard work would be rewarded and everyone would play on the same playing field, although I quickly learned that this was not the case. The glass ceiling does exist for women in higher education, and it impedes women from reaching their full potential. In addition, a lack of women in leadership roles has an impact on the gender diversity of institutional leadership. Often, women are given lower leadership roles within a department, which gives them a seat at the table, but does not provide them with the power to make decisions that greatly impact the department or institution. Unfortunately, this practice prevents women from getting leadership roles that will help them advance to higher levels of leadership in the institution. Another barrier that women face is that they are underrepresented in higher education leadership and higher education in general. A report presented by the Council of Graduate Schools indicated that in 2018-2019, 52.9% of the doctoral degrees were awarded to women enrolled in United States universities. The fact that women in general earn more doctorates than men, but are still lacking representation in higher education leadership and higher education overall, indicates that an issue exists that should be addressed. The implications of women being underrepresented in higher education are far-reaching. For instance, there are fewer women at the full professor rank when compared to men. In fact, Johnson reported that only 32% of women are full professors, and most women are in the lower academic ranks. Moreover, there are more women of color in lower ranking faculty positions, and men of color hold more positions at the professor rank. Hannum et al. Indicated that this was the result of women of color not being offered leadership opportunities and were more likely to experience scrutiny and criticism than their white counterparts. It is clear that there are less women in the faculty ranks as one goes from assistant professor to full professor. However, this trend extends to leadership roles such as chair, dean, provost, and president. Another barrier is that there are different standards for men and women, which result in gender bias. As a consequence of gender bias, most individuals think of men as leaders, not women. Effective leadership is typically connected to what has characteristically been considered masculine characteristics, such as independence, directedness, assertiveness, toughness, and dominance. Regrettably, these features do not reflect attributes such as sensitivity, being supportive, and focusing on interpersonal relationships, which have been identified as feminine leadership characteristics. As a result, women are not typically socialized to become leaders. The lack of socialization is further compounded by the fact that often women believe that they have to take on male-associated leadership behaviors to be a leader, but at the same time, believe that they have to be feminine. This practice creates a double standard for women leaders, and that if they are assertive, they are perceived to be too tough and not feminine, while women that are compassionate are seen as too soft and not a leader. This contradictory standard puts women in a no-win situation and makes it hard for women to move up to senior leadership positions. Sadly, gender bias, coupled with a lack of socialization provided to prepare women to become leaders, may result in some women choosing not to pursue leadership roles because they do not believe that they have the skills to lead because they are women. In addition, women may view that gender itself is a barrier to advancement and make them less likely to aspire to leadership positions. Associated with gender bias, a 2012 report indicated that men were judged on their potential and women were evaluated on their past performance. Researchers investigated how professors in the sciences from both private and public institutions evaluated applications for a position as a lab manager. Each of the professors received the same applicant summary, but in half of the cases, the applicant was identified as John, and in the other half, the applicant was identified as Jennifer. The results indicated that male and female science professors were less likely to offer employment to female candidates. Furthermore, when female candidates were offered the positions, it was at a lower salary. The gender salary gap is a reflection of gender bias and is another barrier to women's leadership. There are many factors that contribute to salary inequities, yet the Joint Economic Committee indicated that as much as 40% of the gap was the result of discrimination. More specifically, in the 2018-2019 academic year, women faculty earned 81.6% of the salaries of male faculty at every rank, assistant, associate, and full professor, at four-year public and private institutions. Another barrier that women have to contend with is that they face early career decisions that are different than those that men face. Johnson reported that women are more likely to change their career path for family reasons than their male peers. For example, although there are women faculty who do not have children, women who do have children experience role strain created by being a parent, faculty member, and leader. This role strain is exacerbated by the long hours that each of these roles entail. As a result, women with children may lower their aspiration for leadership roles, which may lead them to decline leadership positions early in their career. This can be detrimental to the career path of early career women who choose to decline leadership positions because the absence of leadership experiences early in one's career may result in them being overlooked for leadership opportunities in the future. The lack of mentoring and support that women receive to advance into leadership roles is another barrier. Often, women at a lower rank may take an administrative position due to the lack of qualified candidates who are tenured or at the professor rank at their own professional risk. For instance, some women are set up for failure by taking on the role of department chair too early in their careers and do not receive mentoring that systematically focuses on career trajectory planning. Typically, men do not follow this practice and are more apt to stay focused on their career path and not take a leadership role because there is no one that has expressed interest in the role. Finally, many women lack the opportunities to pursue leadership roles. In part, this is a result of a limited number of social networks and female mentors that are in leadership roles. The lack of leadership opportunities occurs because without social networks, women do not have the opportunities to connect with those in a network, as well as develop formal and informal networks in and outside of their institutions. A lack of networking opportunities also impedes the development of the leadership identity of women. It is difficult for aspiring women leaders to see themselves as a leader when there are so few senior women leaders in kinesiology and higher education in general. This is magnified by the reality that as women advance up the academic ladder, there are even fewer female colleagues that can serve as role models and mentors who can introduce them to leaders that are decision makers and gatekeepers to leadership opportunities. I have been discussing the women's leadership gap in kinesiology and higher education in general. But what about the struggles women in kinesiology specifically face when they seek leadership roles beyond the departmental level? As I mentioned earlier, I have a leadership role beyond the department level, and I'm also a professor of physical education, teacher education in the Department of Kinesiology, Sports Studies, and Physical Education. In my leadership role, I have become deeply aware of the perception of many in higher education that kinesiology and related fields are less prestigious than other disciplines. As an associate dean, I have had interactions with higher education professionals that have expressed their beliefs that kinesiology and related fields are less respected than other disciplines, as well as their surprise that an individual whose discipline is kinesiology would hold an administrative role such as an associate dean. For example, I was at a party and I met a faculty member from another area college. She asked me what I did at Brockport, and I informed her that I was the associate dean of the School of Education, Health, and Human Services. She then asked me what my home department was, and I replied, kinesiology, sports studies, and physical education. She asked what aspect of kinesiology was my focus, and I answered that I was a physical education teacher educator. She looked at me with a long pause and responded, "And you're an associate dean?" To which I replied, yes, I am. A consequence of the degree to which kinesiology and related fields are marginalized in higher education is that women in kinesiology may not receive the opportunities to pursue leadership roles beyond the department that women in other disciplines might have. As a result, it might be prudent for women to take a risk and go outside of kinesiology to seek leadership opportunities earlier in their careers. Moving outside of kinesiology for leadership experiences and doing something different provides a broader perspective, as well as the likelihood to interact with leaders and decision makers outside of kinesiology, which may lead to more leadership opportunities in the future. Although kinesiology and related fields are often considered less significant than other disciplines, there are other factors that impact opportunities for women in kinesiology to pursue leadership positions. For example, although women in general earn more doctorates overall, in kinesiology and related fields, this is not always the case. A National Center for Education Statistics reported in 2011-2012 that men earn more doctorates in kinesiology and related disciplines than women. Specifically, in the 2011-2012 academic year, 56% of the doctorates in kinesiology were awarded to men, and 44% of the kinesiology doctorates were awarded to women. I realize that this statistic is a bit dated. However, the 2011-2012 academic year was the last year that the National Center for Education Statistics provided specific data regarding the number of doctorates awarded in kinesiology and related fields that were aggregated by gender. The fact that there are years when fewer women than men receive doctorates in kinesiology and related fields is problematic for women because it results in a smaller pool of women looking to pursue leadership roles, as well as less women to serve as mentors. I have presented many reasons that a women's leadership gap exists in kinesiology and higher education. Certainly, there are more reasons. However, what can be done to advance women leaders in kinesiology and higher education in an effort to not only close the leadership gap, but eliminate the gap? We need to put strategies in place to cultivate women leaders. Additionally, we need to rethink the path to leadership for women in kinesiology and higher education in an effort to eliminate the leadership gap. There are several strategies that can be utilized to close the women's leadership gap in kinesiology and higher education, as well as overcome barriers that women face in achieving leadership positions. First, women that are established leaders in kinesiology and higher education need to look for opportunities to mentor and be role models for aspiring women leaders early in their careers. As part of the mentoring process, they need to offer encouragement and support to women, as well as providing information regarding the rewards and limitations of being a woman in a leadership position in higher education. In addition, part of the mentoring should include the mentor providing resources that help women in academic positions plan a career path that includes leadership in higher education. Mentors should work with junior faculty to plan not only what they need to do to receive tenure and promotion, but also what leadership opportunities they should strive for to become part of institutional leadership and have the chance to move up into leadership positions later in their careers if they choose. Second, women leaders in kinesiology and higher education need to create networks of leaders that include both men and women to help emerging women leaders to make contacts and have opportunities to exercise their leadership skills. Additionally, these networks could help women identify sponsors who are individuals in power that can be champions for aspiring women leaders. Third, women leaders in kinesiology and related fields should encourage professional associations to offer leadership development programs that are specifically for women. Moreover, professional associations should provide leadership development programs that emphasize representation, diversity, and inclusion by providing support to women from diverse backgrounds to help them move into leadership roles and be recognized as leaders in kinesiology and higher education. The aspect of the program being only for women is important because some leadership program designs are ineffective as they lack a pedagogical framework that is unique to women. Although women and men have leadership similarities, there are differences that influence the way men and women process information, handle stress, relate to one another, and experienced leadership. In addition, professional associations could offer conference programming that is targeted toward promoting women's leadership in kinesiology. Perhaps another idea is for these professional associations to start a women's leadership chapter in each state, similar to what the American Council on Education has done with women's networks in each state. Fourth, women leaders should be supporters of formal women's leadership development programs at institutions of higher education. Institutions need to create supportive and healthy work environments that encourage women to integrate family life and personal goals with their career aspirations for leadership and foster women's ambition to advance. Fifth, institutions need to be more systematic about helping women achieve leadership roles. For example, a pipeline could be created that actually moves women forward to advance in leadership positions, as well as ensure that there is a qualified, diverse group of women ready to move into these positions. The importance of quality mentoring cannot be overemphasized in building this pipeline. In order to facilitate the mentoring process, we need to create a model for mentoring that would help women plan their career path and keep the pipeline flowing. The model that I would like to propose has been modified from the Moodley-Toney framework for higher education leadership and could serve as a formal model to systematically mentor women in kinesiology. The model is comprised of 3 levels that have specific topics for the mentor and mentee to discuss as they progress through the model. Moreover, this model allows the mentor and the mentee to work together in a manner that supports the mentee in achieving their academic and leadership goals. The mentor in this model should be a woman that can provide guidance that helps the mentee understand the context of their higher education institution as well as their department. The guidance provided by the mentor throughout the levels of the model will help the mentee develop the knowledge and skills to not only achieve a work balance, but also thrive in academic and leadership roles. In level 1 of the model, the mentor should encourage the mentee to write a plan that is time-bound and helps them plan their intended career trajectory. This plan should provide details regarding career goals related to tenure and promotion, as well as leadership. Additionally, the plan should include action steps that mentees should take to achieve these goals. Although creating a career plan is a crucial piece of level 1, it is also important that the mentor introduce the mentee to women leaders across departments and divisions in an effort to provide professional support and networking opportunities to the mentee. During this level, the mentor should provide advice regarding how to successfully navigate scholarship and service requirements in addition to supporting the mentee's teaching. In regard to scholarship, the mentor should encourage the mentee to think strategically when considering journals in which to publish. Often, new faculty want to publish in highly tiered journals that have a low publication rate and would be more successful publishing if they explored lower tier journals that could be used toward tenure and promotion. Moreover, the mentor should help connect the mentee with research and writing partners in the department to help support their scholarship. In respect to service, the mentor should urge the mentee to be intentional regarding service activities in which they engage to ensure that they align with their career goals. In addition, the mentee should be encouraged to attend conferences and make presentations that support their career goals. Level 2 of the model would begin when the mentee reaches the mid-tenure milestone. Level 2 is designed for the mentor to help the mentee evaluate the progress they have made in their career plan and determine if they need to revise their career goals. After the mentee has evaluated their career plan, the mentor should provide advice regarding the path the mentee should follow to continue to achieve their goals at this point in their career. Also, in level 2 of the model, the mentor should help the mentee to focus on their leadership goals. The mentor should suggest leadership roles in the department, such as being a committee chair or a coordinator for a concentration or lab. In addition, the mentor should help the mentee further develop leadership skills by creating more opportunities to network with women leaders in and outside of the institution. Mentees enter into level 3 of the model when they have achieved tenure and promotion. At this level, women are in a position that they can pursue and take on larger leadership roles in or outside of the department. It is in level 3 that the mentee becomes the mentor and mentors a new mentee through the levels of the model. It is through a model like this that we can systematically build a pipeline of women that are qualified and prepared to take on leadership roles in kinesiology and higher education. Furthermore, we can build capacity for women's leadership and help women gain the knowledge, skills, and abilities associated with formal leadership roles. Finally, this model allows women to move up the ladder, and when they get to the top, pull others up, as well as extend the ladder so it is longer and reaches women from all backgrounds. In conclusion, I have presented several ideas today regarding the leadership gap that exists for women in kinesiology and higher education in general. Margaret Paulding and members of the EAPECW work to support leadership and provide mentoring to women in physical education. Members of the EAPECW paved the way to make our lives as women in higher education more rewarding and our goals more achievable. I believe that we must do the same for those who come after us. I realize that this is a lofty goal and that there is more work to be done. For example, there needs to be research that investigates the intersectionality of race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and gender, and the impact they have on women's access to and the achievement of leadership roles. In addition, actions need to be taken to move the profession forward and remove barriers to women's leadership in kinesiology and higher education to achieve an equitable future for women leaders. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks.
I want to thank Alisa on behalf of Eastern District, and I would like anyone who has a question, we can do it one of two ways. You can just let us know, wave to me and I'll call on you, or we can put it in the chat. We do not have a lot of time. Steve Cohn has his hand up.
Okay.
Thank you very much for sharing. My question is, could you maybe give us a refresher on what your path was and how you arrived at your particular position?
Sure. I started off as an assistant professor and then moved to associate in full. And then in terms of leadership, I held every, I was performance coordinator. I was the coordinator for the Pete Manger. I was the graduate coordinator. I was the coordinator of everything within the department. And then I moved to the chair position, associate chair. And then I moved into the associate dean position. And when I became associate dean, it's interesting because I had interviewed for the associate dean like 2 deans ago and didn't get it. And so when I interviewed with the current dean, I felt like I did my best. I put everything out there, and I was pleasantly surprised that I was offered the job. But that's the path that I've taken. And in addition, outside of academia, professional associations, I've been involved in New York State AHPERD since I was an assistant professor. I was the Future Professionals advisor, I think, for 7 years. And then I was a higher ed president. And then I became the president of the association. I've been the president of the Higher Ed Council for New York State Professional Preparation of PE Teachers. So I've done a lot to move me to where I am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions?
Nothing in the chat. Anyone else?
I thought I saw a hand. Was it Natasha who had her hand up? Natasha, okay, she's looking at me, shaking her head. No.
I'll be happy to have a private conversation here. Given your current position, what is your largest obstacle that you continue to face, and how are you trying to address it?
Well, a couple of things. The pandemic is a huge obstacle. I mean, the pandemic has impacted everything I do and how I do it. And we continue, to make progress with that. I think one of the largest obstacles that I've faced is, as a faculty member in kinesiology, sports studies, and physical education, we're the largest department on campus. And so I felt kind of insulated from the marginalization because we have a huge department, we have lots of students. And I was aware that marginalization existed. I mean, I was a public school physical education teacher, aware of marginalization and the status of physical education teachers. But I didn't realize just how deeply ingrained it is in higher ed. And I'll give you an example. I've interviewed candidates for other positions within the school, education positions, nursing positions, different positions. And it's always interesting when I'm interviewing somebody and then they ask me what my background is. And when I tell them that, I'm a professor in kinesiology, sports studies, and physical education, and they're shocked. And I think that's one of the biggest obstacles, is really changing perceptions and being able to help people to see being in kinesiology, it is a discipline, and it should deserve the same respect of all disciplines that are on college campuses. I have been able to, the chairs that I work within the school, at first there were a couple of chairs who were a little unsure. They knew me, but they weren't really for sure because of my background. But I've won them over, and I think by being someone who listens and someone who tries to always be a leader that is collaborative, and someone who tries to have a vision but understand where people are coming from, and in an effort to make the right decision instead of just making a decision because I think it's right. I think that I've earned the respect of all the faculty and chairs in my school. But that has been a little bit of an obstacle.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's a good question.
Anyone else? Okay, Dr. Ciato, would you like to come on now and talk about our next event?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much, Alisa. That was definitely fascinating. And we really appreciate you giving your time and being with us this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. For those of you that are available and interested, the Eastern District Award Ceremony will be starting at 5:15. So we hope to see many of you at that time. We will be recognizing all of our wonderful award recipients, as well as our outstanding future professionals. Many, if not all of them, are on the call here with us, as well as graduating our first cohort of Eastern District fellows from our fellowship program. So we do hope that you can join us for that. And if not, we wish you all a fantastic night. And again, thank you very much, Dr. James.
Now, if we were face to face, we would certainly give Dr. James a round of applause. So on behalf of our audience, we want to thank you for that wonderful presentation and the wonderful precedent that you continue to set as a Margaret Paulding lecturer. If we were to have a convention in New Orleans next year, and SHAPE America would be in agreement to it, we would hope to put that in our program, but I don't want to promise anything like that. I just want you to know that we want to continue as an Eastern District in having the Margaret Paulding Lecture, and it really is something special and important to our district. So I thank you for your attendance. I thank you for your participation. I thank you for being a good listener. And I wish you the very best if you're not coming to the awards, which we hope you are. Best wishes for a wonderful rest of the year and a very healthy summer. Thank you.
Thank you.